In this video, we will show how to use the two buttons to control a circle in the GUI. So we just see, for example, here I have enlarge button. See, when I click on that, I can make my circle radius become bigger. So on the other hand, you know, if I click on the shrink button, they will make the radius become smaller. Okay, so how should we make that work? So that's earlier we talked about event handler programming, right? So from the beginning, we need to try to display the circle. So then I will display two buttons. So you know earlier, we say that you need to create two event handler. One is make the circle become bigger. So then I will reduce that to the enlarge button. So then the second thing, I will shrink the circle. In the other hand, that means decrease the radius. So then I reduce to the shrink button. So can you think about how you make this program work? So I just want to remind you, whenever you have a problem like this, you just need to follow two steps. The first step you need to think about, how should I display the GUI? So then the second thing, you think about what kind of event handler you need to write. So then we register that to the source object. So the first thing, can you tell me, how should I display a circle in the center? Then I have two buttons. Right, so that's why you think about that. The first thing, if I want to have a circle in the center, I can place this circle on a stack pane, right? Very good. So here I need to have a stack pane. But remember, stack pane is a pattern. So one parent on one scene, one stage. So if I have a stack pane with the circle, how about my two buttons? Good. So that's why actually this one is what I want to ask you first. If I only want to display the GUI, I have a circle, but also I have two buttons, right? So this one actually is, we need to use the stack pane for the circle. Then I have the stack pane on a border pane. Did you remember we say the border pane you have 5 regions, right? But even you only have 2 regions, that's fine. So that means we can have one region that's a center. So then the bottom, then I have a bottom region. So the center region, that's place a stack pane with a circle. Then in the bottom region, I can have another flow pane. So then I add 2 buttons on the flow pane. So that's your GUI. So let's have our GUI ready first. So that's why here I want to show you actually the for my scene, I will have a border pane. So then on the border pane, I have a stack pane for the circle. Then I will place down in the center. So then on the bottom, I can have a flow pane. So that's why here, let's have our GUI ready first. So remember earlier I told you, in my stage, right? So for our GUI, we call control circle extend application. So I have a start method. I have my main primary stage. So remember, one stage, one scene, and one scene, one parent. So my parent on the scene actually is a border pane. So that's why I create a border pane here. So then in this border pane, I have 2 regions. One region is the center. So one region is for the 2 buttons. So since the button next to each other, right? So here we will create H box. So this H box, actually when you add the component one by one, they are just next to each other. Next to each other and also with the same size. So that's why I create an enlarge button and a shrink button. So my HBox get children and add these two buttons. So this HBox actually I set on the button on my border pen. So then the border pen for the center, I have a circle pen. So this circle pen actually I just create a circle pen class. So this circle pen class I will show you later. So then this circle pen class, I have an object. So then I place that at the center. So that's why our GUI display like this, right? Okay, so then the next one, my GUI I show you like this, right? But where's my circle pen? So that's why here, let me show you the circle pen. The circle pen actually, like earlier we said, this circle pen actually is a stack pen because I want the circle placed in the center. So I just make this circle, the radius we start from 50. So then I create a circle pen constructor. So then you see here, I get the children. Then I add this circle object. So I make the color just black. So why I need to have this circle pen I create separately in a class called circle pen? Because remember earlier we say, I need to enlarge my radius and shrink my radius, right? So in order to shrink the circle, I need to access that circle. So instead here, I just need to access the circle directly. The circle should be a private. So then that's why here, how about we just have an enlarge method and a shrink method. This enlarge and shrink method, they can be invoked from outside because they are public. So that's why here I have the radius every time I enlarge by 2. So the shrink, as long as your radius not equal to 0, I will shrink by 2. So this two public method is later my event handler. So that's why I can direct to code from my circle can object. So are you okay with the GUI here? Yeah, so here actually I just covered that because I want to show you. Whenever you start your GUI with the event handler, but the first thing you need to have your GUI ready. So that after your GUI ready, right? So that's at my event handler class. So I have 2 event handler class, right? Because I want to shrink and enlarge. So that's why here you have enlarge handler. So each event handler, you need to implement the event handler interface. So we override the handle method. So you see now it's easy now. I just need to code the circle pen, then invoke this enlarge method. So on the other hand, the shrink handler class will be easier. I just need to invoke the circle pen. So this circle pen actually is in my GUI here. My circle pen is here. So that's why here, after I have these 2 event handler is ready, right? Right, so I create this event handler to get ready. So did you remember? These are 2 event handler class, right? So that's why I need to create that 2 object and radius to the event handler. So that's why here, my event handler radius like this. Okay, so this my source object. I set on action to register my event handler. So the shrink, I register my shrink handler to this source object. So now your GUI not only can display, then they can control the circle now. So I want you to download your control circle file and run from that. So you can pause the video for a little bit because I need to ask you a couple questions later for this example. So I believe you all run the control circle.java file, right? So I want you to check on that Java file total. We define how many classes in that file. Did you check? So you can see here is our control circle.java file, right? Of course, the first one I have one class. So control circle. So we continue to move this file. Okay, good. We have the other two class. We call enlarge handler and shrink handler. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Then we have 4, the circle pen class. So actually in this example, total we have 4 classes. So I'm not sure you pay attention. You see here is our first class, right? But this first class, we start from line 19. We finish at where? You see, continue. You are not finished here because this is from start method. So then you continue. Actually, not finish here, not finish here. You finish at line 52. So I have first class called control circle. But in the control circle class, we have 2 classes. They are enlarge handler and the shrink handler class. So here is the next video I want to talk about more is when you have a class inside another class. What does that mean? So actually this means we call the inner class. So what mean inner class? Inner class actually kind of you have your tenants live in your house. You guys under the same class, big class, but these 2 classes, they are classes too, but they are defined inside another class. So these 2 classes we call inner class, and the outer class is the control circle class. So this inner class relationship has what benefit? Just like earlier I said, these 2 classes actually they belong to the outer class. So that's on the other hand, like you have your tenants live in your house, but you guys are kind of in the same big house. So then if you have inner class inside the outer class, right? So the inner class actually can access the private data attribute from the outer class. So did you notice that? So here actually our circle pen actually is private. Private defined where? In the control circle. So since this one is private, right? So supposedly inside the control circle class, they can access this circle pen. But because these 2 classes, they are defined inside the control circle class. So that's why these 2 inner classes can direct access the private or any data attribute in the outer class. So this one is we call the inner classes. So most of the time for our event handler, we create and define the event handler classes inside our GUI because we have 2 reasons. One reason, usually the event handler class only specific for the GUI use. And also sometimes because the handler class needs to control the node in the GUI what they want to display. So that's why they are easily to access those GUI nodes. So that's the inner class. So here actually our 4th class, they are after the control circle defined. So the circle pen class, actually they are independent from the control class. So that's why here in the control circle class, they just create an object of the circle pen. Then they add this circle pen into the GUI. So like earlier I say, we have 4 classes in one Java file, right? So then I will prove to you there are 4, not only from the source file. So I want you to go to your source file, where your project directory. So mine is under week 11. So I want you to go to the bin directory. So you will see here, I have 1 control circle class. So then they have 2 inner class. So then additional to that, they have the circle pen class.